Black Ops 7 is coming out in just a little over a week, and I was really expecting that I would be super excited and super ready for this game to actually release. But ever since we got the beta, for whatever reason, I have been completely uninterested in Black Ops 7 Zombies, which is extremely surprising because I was so excited for Black Ops 6 when it was coming out. I had so many ideas, so much things I wanted to share with the community. I made so many videos talking about potential fixes for things like the systems in the game and the HUD and whatnot. But for this game, I just don't have that same passion, that same excitement that I had for Black Ops 6, and I don't know if it's necessarily because we have back-to-back Black Ops games and zombies and we're a little bit burnt out maybe, or maybe it's just I'm losing the passion for the mode, but I just cannot seem to find anything I'm too excited for. Now, I was really initially excited for Curse mode, and don't get me wrong, I still am. That's definitely what I'm most excited for the Zombies mode. But as they've revealed more about Cursed, it sounds less like that classic mode that we were all hoping it would be. Now, granted, they never did say it was an official classic mode. That was kind of just community hype. But it feels like less of a classic mode and more of a challenge mode. They're saying it's a harder mode when most of the things that they've said about it actually make the game easier. For example, you have a spawn pistol, which does not necessarily affect difficulty. If you start in with a spawn pistol in Black Ops 6, you're going to be just fine. Doesn't really matter. That is a good change I like, but it doesn't necessarily change difficulty. You have the OG point system, which in my opinion will actually make the game easier because you can farm more points and be able to get your perks and your triple pack-a-punch far quicker. The only thing that would really make it harder would be to have a no armor relic, which of course they are not doing for whatever reason. They say it would actually be too difficult. That is a completely illogical statement in my opinion, because if the whole point of this mode is to give a tough challenge to the hardcore players, why not give them the option to disable armor with a relic? It seems like a complete no-brainer. I mean, if you're trying to make it hard, that is for the extremely skilled player who wants that extremely difficult challenge. But they refuse to. They're actually going to give us golden armor, which will make the game easier by not having to apply armor plates yourself. They will just automatically replenish. That actually makes the game easier. Only two things that they've said. Now, keep in mind, they could add more relics. They're most likely going to add more relics. But the only two relics that confirm that it makes the mode slightly more difficult is the fact that there's going to be no ammo boxes and 4 perk limit. Those are 2 relics that you can enable that will actually make the difficulty of the mode harder. But overall, I feel like this has been a very weirdly marketed mode and a very weirdly marketed game. Like, they've already revealed DLC 1 when the game isn't even out yet, and me personally, I just cannot be excited for that. We don't even know how Black Ops 7's launch is going to be. The game could suck, it could be great, we don't know. So why are you showing us this next map? I haven't even got to experience and live out the excitement of the launch map. That is honestly to me a very weird move. I'm not quite sure why they would show us DLC 1 so early. I guess it must be releasing extremely early in comparison to other DLCs, but overall it's been a very weirdly marketed game. And I was really hoping that the beta would give me a lot of excitement for this game, but in a way it kind of did the opposite because I was super excited that we were going to get the first ever Zombies beta, but when I played it, it completely just let me down. I understand that it is just survival and that it is an early build and whatnot, but the fact that that mode had 0 replayability, in my opinion, just shows that survival mode in Black Ops 7 is going to be a complete flop. It's not going to have that same unique aspect that it had in Black Ops 2. The reason that it was so fun in Black Ops 2 was A, Transit was a horrible map and nobody wanted to play it, and B, each survival map had its own unique twist. For example, Town was the only one to have Pack-a-Punch and perks. Farm did not have Pack-a-Punch, it just had perks. And Bus Depot had only the mystery box. So you had to play each of those in a very specific way. Bus Depot was extremely challenging with only a mystery box. You had no perks, so 2 hits and the game is over. Farm, you could play a little freer, but you were never going to be able to get to those high rounds because you could not pack punch your guns. And Town was the one that you could actually do well on and get to high rounds. Each one had a unique play set for players that enjoyed each of those different ways to play. But in this, it's just going to feel very samey with not a lot to do, no side Easter eggs, nothing like that. And Kevin Drew said that they're going to be adding different boss enemies into the maps to make them have that unique identity. But if they're just going to reuse Black Ops 6 boss enemies like they have with the Doppelgas, that is not going to give it its unique identity. That's going to make the mode even more hated, in my opinion. And when I first played the beta, it just felt so much like Black Ops 6 to me. And I understand that that was bound to happen, right? But I was just hoping that the visual look, the atmosphere, the aesthetics of Black Ops 7 would give it that leap from previous game to new game. But it's just not enough for me, in my opinion. Maybe when the game is fully launched, it will be enough. But so far, I was hoping that they would exceed my expectations, and so far they have not even reached them. I did enjoy Black Ops 6 for what it was. Obviously, it had glaring issues like the story, like the facility-based maps, like the systems in the game. And I understand that a lot of that stuff was bound to return to Black Ops 7, and I think Black Ops 7 still has the potential to be an extremely good zombies mode. I am just worried about these things that keep returning. I'm worried about the lack of replayability the mode will have. I'm worried about the curse mode potentially not being what everyone was expecting. I'm worried about all of these things along with the insane leaks. I mean, there are so many leaks now that are spoiling it. We already have leaked dialogue from ending cutscenes. We have leaked boss fight arenas. We have leaked HUDs. We have leaked everything. And speaking of HUDs, the HUD that they showed, the unique zombies HUD, is a complete joke in my opinion. I mean, this is the absolute bare minimum. I know it is technically an improvement, and I will give them the credit for that, because I don't want to be all negative, okay? I will give credit when it's due, and I'll give criticism when it's due. So the credit for this is that, yes, it's better, okay? That's the credit. Now let's go to the criticism. This is the absolute bare minimum they could have done. In my opinion, this is what happened. Zombies never had a unique HUD. It was just the multiplayer HUD. And then everyone complained, this is so ugly, this is so bad, what are we doing? So then last minute they said, oh my god, make it purple. Make it purple, that's Zombies HUD. And then that's what they did. Like I said, it is better, but the fact that this is what we're getting these days, when back in the day in Black Ops 2, we used to get unique HUDs for every map that actually fit the zombies aesthetic, made it feel different than the multiplayer. That, just the creativity behind that, the passion for that, that is what is lacking in these new games, in my opinion. And we need to get back to that. And I feel like it is slowly happening, but it's so slow that it's going to take so long to actually reach those heights that we once had. And I do still think it's possible, but we just need more passion, more love for the small details. And honestly, in my opinion, a bit more simplicity. They've kind of overcomplicated the mode with all these new systems like triple pack-a-punch, rarities, all of these things. They need to go a little bit back and bring some of that simplicity back in the mode. Now, I'm not saying we should remove all new features since Cold War or anything like that. That's a stupid idea. Some of the stuff from Cold War was actually positive, but I do think we need to take a step back and reevaluate and actually go back to a more simplistic type of feel. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments, people saying that you're just complaining about an early build. The game isn't even out yet. But if we don't give our criticisms, the problems will never be addressed. For example, the multiplayer side of Black Ops 7 has been getting such good updates and such positive updates because people have been complaining and criticizing for years. They finally removed skill-based matchmaking. They finally brought back non-disbanding lobbies. The multiplayer beta was one of the most fun experiences I've had on Call of Duty in years and years. I was a huge fan of this multiplayer beta, and I am so excited for the multiplayer at launch because I feel like they're just going to improve upon what we had in the beta. But for zombies, it just kind of felt the same as Black Ops 6. I didn't have that insane excitement, that fresh feeling. I will say the guns felt better in Black Ops 7, in my opinion. They looked better, sound better, were more unique visually, and that's because of that futuristic aesthetic. I just don't have that same feeling for zombies as I have for multiplayer. The multiplayer feels like it's finally coming out of like a dark hole that it's been in. They're finally coming back to the greatness they once had. The zombies feels like it's just staying the same, in my opinion, and I really hope that they can address that at launch and address that with further updates as we continue to go through this game's life cycle. Like with the relics in Curse mode, they definitely need to add a no armor relic, in my opinion, for Curse mode to be as successful as possible, because even if it is extremely challenging, and we all know it will be because there's damage scaling, so up in the higher rounds, you're gonna get like 2-shot, 3-shot, 4-shot, and you're gonna die. That is how the old games used to be. I do believe that the Curse mode with no armor would be an extremely fun time, would bring back that replayability that the modern games have been missing. But right now at this point, we'll never know if that'll happen because they say there is no relic for no armor. So that's the #1 change they need to make, in my opinion, for Curse mode to actually be successful. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see if they do that. I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a couple of these HUDs that got leaked, the HUD themes. So as we can see, here's the Shadows of Evil one. There's a couple of unique ones in here, and some of these are so good. And it really just makes me wish that one of these was just the default HUD. Some of these have an insanely good aesthetic and look to them. And it shows that Treyarch has not lost the ability to create these great things. These things that actually look good and show their creativity. They have not lost that, but for whatever reason, whether it's executives at the top of Activision or Warzone-ified zombies, whatever you want to say the reason is, because we really won't ever know, but whatever that reason is, they are being held back by something, it feels like. If they can still make HUDs that look like this, that shows that they have not lost their touch. They have not lost that creativity, that uniqueness that made them so loved to begin with. But for whatever reason, they just refuse to do that. So yeah, this video did not have a lot of like a direction I was trying to go in. I just wanted to get on here and rant about Black Ops 7 Zombies and how I'm personally feeling, why I haven't been uploading as much recently. And I'm definitely going to be uploading in the upcoming days before launch though, because I am still excited. Not as much as I wish I was, but I am excited overall. If you guys want to see another one of my videos, you can click on this video right here. Thank you all for watching.